Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Sunday, one and all. If you're watching football later, because obviously there are people that do watch the European Championships, enjoy that because you might be in for a disappointment. You never know. But of course, we're not here to chat football. We're here to chat professional wrestling, or if you have a concept of that, which is completely fine. But before we get into that, pleasantries, co-host Daily, how are we?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, we're talking about professional wrestling, but one company is certainly looking more amateur than usual these days. Not that it would be my place to gloat, but no, we're doing well. You know, sun's shining. We're coming towards the big summer break for anyone who works in education. So we're getting closer to that, and yeah, just looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing what you've got, because obviously there were a few things that happened this week. And before we jump into them, how are you doing?
I'm alive and well, if that counts, because frankly, the I'm not even gonna lie, because obviously I was at Clash at the Castle. I'm not gonna lie, the lighting nearly killed me. It was horrible. But apart
Hmm.
from that, I'm good. I'm genuinely good. So just see how it goes. It's good that I've got the comments on the TV, but that's one in particular. hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna touch on that a wee bit later on. So stay tuned.
yeah. To be honest, right, I know, I said we weren't going to do this anymore, but we've got demands from the big man. You know, Keane's in there, and he wants to hear my thoughts, probably your thoughts as well. He wants to hear our thoughts on that AEW rating. Now, before we go into why it might have happened, um, did you think it was a joke? Because I did. I thought it was fake,
What
that
the
number.
To be honest, I didn't really pay attention to the ratings. So when I first seen it, I was like, okay, uh, right, fair enough.
Oh, I mean, it is
Wow.
no sorts of okay, is it? Like,
No, to be fair,
no.
I don't like. There's people who like, fair enough, who are more interested in the ratings discourse than I am. I don't care about ratings, but obviously it is a metric for some that really do pay attention to, and that's fine. That's generally what some people do. For me, it's purely you're going to have weeks where ratings are going to be up or down. In most cases, it can still go down for any organization. The problem is how you respond. But when I seen that, I was like, right, okay, what the fuck? I didn't. I admit, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know the number, I don't want to speak over the top of anybody. And we will get to Joe Hendry, Evan. Don't worry. We've got so many things to talk about this week. It's one of those weeks where thing after thing just happened, but I
He's the
feel
most
like it
over
just
guy in
wouldn't be.
wrestling.
I just think it wouldn't be on brand for us if we didn't start with what has gone wrong for Tony Khan. For those
hmm
of you who don't know the number, so AEW, they've been cruising around like high 600,000, so 680, 690. That was considered a dreadful rating about less than a year ago, for sure. That would have been a dreadful
Mm.
rating. But it's
Yeah,
settled to sort of being their average, and they kind of, they put up with that basically.
yeah.
The number for Wednesday's Dynamite
Yeah.
was 502,000 viewers, which makes it the lowest rated
Mhm.
regular time slot AEW Dynamite that wasn't preempted, pre-taped, or moved to a different day,
Mhm.
different slot, different channel. It is
Yep.
the lowest rating that the program has done,
Mhm.
and actually by quite a long way.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true.
so people were obviously saying, well, there's this, that, and the other thing on. Um, I mean, does it really come down to what was on around it, what was on before it? So obviously there was a an American holiday going on,
Yep.
which meant that. Big Bang Theory wasn't on, and before AEW Dynamite was Black Panther. A
Yep.
very popular movie, but also kind of an old one at this point. I don't remember its exact year release. I think 2018.
Around that period, yeah. 2
So
seconds.
it's not like a brand new movie, and it probably aired on TV before, but due to the
2018,
holiday
yeah.
and the nature of it, they decided to air that. And then they went straight into Dynamite. And
Yep.
the alarming thing for me is that this rating, this 502,000,
Yeah.
wasn't because of a massive drop off. They didn't start very high at all. I think
Hmm.
it was 580 odd thousand, maybe 590 odd thousand
It did
for
pick up a
the
wee bit from what I
like
seen, but
the
that
opening.
was just after. I noticed they picked up a little bit and then it did drop, but I wasn't sure when the drop was.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact is, they open the show with MJF and he draws less, like fewer than 600,000 people.
Yeah, the match
And
against
bearing in
Russo.
mind that Dynamite tweet out a match order every week, like they let you know what's coming on the show and when,
Hmm.
because that's how Tony Khan's always done it. So people knew MJF was opening.
Yeah. Like
What
I'm
do you
fine
think it
for
says about the general feeling around AEW? I mean, obviously MJF is just back. Also, you can go ahead and finish the thought that you had before you answer that question. That's fine.
like what I was gonna say is I don't mind if an organization, whether it be from the owner or head booker or whether it be their official like social media accounts, they tell you what the show order or the match card is for the show. I don't mind that at all. I think that's a good way to at least make fans aware that obviously you want a little bit of suspense, you want a little bit of surprise of you don't want to reveal everything, but you want to at least say, well, this is one of your premium matches tonight, like your main scope. This is what you're going to get plus more. I don't mind if you say like you're going to get 2 or 3 matches, you're going to get 1 or 2 promo segments, etc. But it's about how you are making it known, and I think that's the only thing really for me that matters in terms of the MJF situation. Um, See, I've always liked some elements of MJF. Some elements, like I think the one thing that he does really well is he knows how to get attention from the crowd. Like whether you like him or dislike him, like the one thing he
Yeah,
does
no,
really
I think
well is
that's fair.
he does get that attention. The He also does deliver on like in certain promos he does deliver really well. The only thing for me is the element of delivery, and that's what really matters. And I think you really need to. For me, I think the one thing for MGF, and this is a thing for certain talent as well, like the whole thing, like before he went back to WWE, and to be fair, it's still the same in WWE. This is not me saying, oh, you got to pick one or the other, but there's certain crowds, for example, where CM Punk is really good in, and there's certain crowds where CM Punk isn't, and it's sort of similar to MJF. There's certain states or certain cities where you really want to hear MJF speak because it translates really well, and then there's some where they're not really going to bother. I think the one thing you need to really do when you go into a show is you need to definitively pick which one is his strongest and which one's his weakest, and you strike there. And I think that's the key element to some talent. Like I'm going to say this as well. Like one of the great, like two of the greatest promos by far of all time is still Ric Flair and God rest his soul, Dusty Rhodes. Even though I'm sick of Dusty being brought up in every single promo on SmackDown, but the fact is there was genuinely some states and some arenas where Ric Flair did not work, and there was the exact same for Dusty Rhodes. But then the following week, they would be back in a North Carolina, or they would be in Memphis, for example, and fuck me, you would get the heat and the attraction from the crowd. If you do that, you're going to get the attention you want. And I think that's the one thing
Yeah,
that does hinder MJF a little. There's some where it doesn't work. Like, for example, Dynamite on next week in Buffalo. That's going to be good for MJF. He is from New York, so it's going to hit hard. I don't think it hit well for him this week because it wasn't a crowd that worked well to him. That's just my honest
Isn't
opinion.
that also on MJF though? I mean, to be fair, it's all on
A
Tony
little,
Khan because he gets MJF back
yeah,
and decides, okay, well, you're gonna go and have to like lay out Adam Cole to pay off on the angle that took MJF out,
yes,
and he comes back and he does that, and now he's been thrown into a feud with, and I'm sorry if this is ignorant people, someone I've never fucking heard of. I don't know who he is.
yeah.
You
To
know,
be fair, I
AJ
was
Churro or whatever his name is. Honestly, just
Hedgechero, yeah,
yeah, like I mean, is this really what we bring NGF back for? It's like if Cody had been out for so long, and rather than coming back for the Rumble, he came
yeah.
back because he had to fight Tony D'Angelo.
I'm
You're like,
thinking as well
oh,
though, as a discourse. This is me trying to think. I'm wondering if the only reason, and this, to be fair, this also stems to him as well. And he did have the match against Rush, and there's an element to that match, but it wasn't a bad match at all. But it did highlight one question that might be why he's got this one at Forbidden Door, which isn't really necessary. I'm not sure if MJF is actually 100% fit. Like, I'm not sure. And if he's not, then I don't necessarily think you need MJF to work a match on the card. It's not a bad thing to not have him on the card. If he isn't fully fit, then it doesn't make sense.
but do you not think it speaks to Tony's like absolute obsession over having Forbidden Door like the exact way that he sees it? Because I mean, I'll remind you, MJF's not a champion right now.
No, he's not.
So he doesn't have to be on the show, but
Agreed.
Tony almost like sees MJF on the show and so needs him there. Whereas like you could have easily, if you need this Hedgehero guy. Yeah, no worries, no worries about that. Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Yeah.
No offense. No offense
Uh,
taken. No offense
no,
taken.
no, no, none at all. And thanks for asking. Um, but
Absolutely.
yeah, the problem is that like AEW do have enough wrestlers. I mean, okay, a lot of them are broken, but they do have enough wrestlers that they could put a card together that people will see without
Yep.
jeopardizing like future payoff. But the problem here is there is no future payoff to Eiji Churro. There's no payoff to that. No, I don't think people want to see a great series. It's just another match that's been thrown together because Tony sees a half hour classic that Dave Meltzer can go and rave about.
Like for me,
When, yeah.
I would have had the rematch. You know what I mean? Like, or not even just a rematch, but I would have had a follow-up match to what you actually had on Dynamite. I would have another MJF versus Rush match on a pay-per-view.
Well, that seems to be the feud that would at least make sense.
Because he's a good worker. Like, Rush is a good worker, and it does fit well to MJF anyway. Because he's not going to get hurt. If anything, you're going to get a bit of brutality anyway. And MJF does like a bit of brutality, but you're going to at least get a bit of pacing around the match. At least that he can work to as well. Because we've seen MJF can work a quick match or he can work a slow pace match. He's kind of like that old school mentality, which is kind of good. And this is the sort of opponent where he can do either or. I like the opening match on Dynamite. It's just they didn't get what maybe they would have hoped for. But I think that would have been a better match for Forbidden Door than this. I don't understand the Hedgehero match myself. I don't.
Mm.
Like I've barely watched enough of Hedgehero. I won't deny that. Like he was there at Dynamite
Yeah.
on Wednesday, and he had a match last night on Collision. But apart from that, like I barely pay attention to him, so I can't even give an honest comment on him. Apart from what I've seen, and I don't think it makes sense for MJF.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. This is the thing. Like, call it ignorant however you like,
It's
but
something.
I don't. Yeah, but it's like, well, I don't like MJF, I
Yeah,
had that rant previously, so I'm not doing that again.
you did, which
And
is
it's
fair.
not even like don't like as a work. Like I shoot don't like that guy. But you know, I was like, okay, well,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
he's back. It's a big thing. Let's see who they put him with. And it's a nameless luchador in my eyes. It's someone I've never heard of them, and I don't want to hear
Yeah.
of them because there is a little bit of the sort of, well, you've had so many luchadors on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
Like how is he different to Gravity, and how is he different to Vikingo? Like they
Yeah.
all. And I've watched several of these guys have their match on AEW. It is very much the same thing, and
No,
it
yeah, I
just
suppose.
doesn't seem to me to make a lot of sense for NJF. But the other thing, I suppose, about the rating,
Yeah,
people are attributing the Kendrick Lamar concert to how low the rating is.
generally didn't even
Am
know
I
that
right
was
in
on
saying
till
that?
after the
Yeah.
show.
Well, am I right in saying it was on a streaming service?
I honestly, for the life of you, don't know.
So
I
I
don't know,
mean,
so
yeah. I mean, I've
I
heard
can't even respond.
reports. I think it was on a streaming service, which, unless I'm mistaken here, would mean that it was available on demand, which means that people are actively choosing to watch something
Mm.
like a concert, which, it could have been, I think it was actually live. I don't think they just aired a tape.
I think it was. I think it was
So I
live,
think
yeah,
it
but I
was a
don't.
live concert and it was being
Yeah,
streamed.
I just
But that
wasn't
would mean
watching.
they
I wasn't
could
sure.
get that later and they could
Hmm.
watch the wrestling first. And I think it says a lot about AEW that people didn't want to do that.
Potentially,
So, I think it is alarming. And I think it's worrying for Forbidden Door because you look at this card and you think, okay, well, MJF hasn't got a great opponent. Who
hmm
else can have a great opponent? I mean, Moxley and Naito. Well, Naito's going to get dragged into having a horrible match for Moxley.
he's
Whereas
taken like
Naito versus MJF would have been a good match.
the only reason
Moxley
Naito's
can't have a
not
good match, so
the only reason it's not Naito versus MJ, for example, is because Naito has taken the title back at Forbidden Door.
well, yeah. So I mean, there comes a point where you wonder why Moxley needed it at all. I mean, it's not like he's done
Not
anything
sure.
with the reign. He's defended it mostly against AEW job guys. Um, beat Takeshita in a horrible match on pay per view, and that wasn't even a title defense. That was a championship eliminator match. Ooh. So,
Yeah,
like,
I didn't agree with it being even
it's
though I
decisions like
personally
this. Yeah. Like, MJF and Naito would have been a good match. I
it would have
genuinely
been
believe that. And
for
Moxley
multiple
can't have a
reasons.
good match, even if you resurrected Lou Thesz. Moxley
I think
can't have a good match. So if you just swap them round, I'd at least want to see one of them.
especially if you look at it, if you just in the touching that you said, if it would be Naito versus MJF, for example, like the one thing that really does help there is obviously Naito is 42, but unfortunately because of the style he works and just because he's done it for so long, he doesn't move as fast as he used to be. But the one thing that Naito always will be is Naito, like apart from the fact that he is brilliant at throwing a title around, Naito is a professional. Like he is a like, and I don't mean that in the sense that, oh, like I'm not saying anyone on the card isn't a professional. What I'm saying is Naito, literally, no matter who you're in the ring with, he is going to look after you. You know what I mean? Like Naito has that reputation of he's a great worker, he's lethal as fuck, but he's gonna look after you, and you are gonna have a great match with him. Like Naito, very rarely that I've seen, like you know what I mean, like he very rarely has a bad match. Like it says a lot about him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah. And
disagreed with him
the
losing the title
problem
to Mox
is that
before.
he's been absolutely set up to have a bad match because of his opponent. And I mean, that's a shame. And it's a shame that, it's a shame we're getting what we're getting, basically. Because I look at Forbidden Door, it's already, I think I said it last time, it's already my least favorite part of the year when it comes to AEW because I mean, okay, aside from not necessarily liking the show, I tune in for the pay-per-views, and I at least know who those people are for the most part.
which is fair. Yeah,
When Forbidden Door comes around, it's the guys that I have a vague idea of from what I've seen on AEW versus
yeah.
guys that I have little to no experience of, and I don't know. And the thing is, people go, "Oh, well, then you give it a chance." It's like, okay, well, one, I'm not going to spend the money, and two, I'm not sure I want to spend the time. I've said it before on this show. There's only so much wrestling that
Mm.
I can handle, and love it or hate it, I prioritize WWE because I
Which is
think it
completely fair.
is the best product out there.
Yeah, and I think there are people that are going to prioritize a particular product or promotion, and that's completely fine with me. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I watch a variety. People say I maybe watch too much and it is exhausting, but at the end of the day, I can handle it. I've been doing it for years. But I think the one thing that is important is if you are going to at least make a comment or a critique on something, at least have seen it so you can just say, "Oh, I've actually seen it. I can justify my point," instead of just going by the narrative of the echo chambers, which seems to be a common thing a lot these days, which does not help. But it's also who do you listen to as well. I think one thing that people
Yeah,
do, one thing people will do though, is they will at least try and view it, and if they view it, they'll at least say, right, I've seen 5 minutes. 5 minutes might be enough to formulate an opinion. Does it resonate with me? No. This is why, and then you just move on. It's over with.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, and sometimes it takes you a little longer to, give up on
And
something.
that's
It's the
completely
same
fine.
sort of, yeah, it's the same sort of thing. If you're watching movie or TV series, you might just check out of it. And
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's
true.
what happened to me with the AEW. But the problem is that I viewed it as I'm going to duck out. I'm going to come back in when this is better.
Hmm.
And it just keeps getting worse. And the rating really shows it. And love it or hate it, the networks use ratings to track how popular the programming is. That's
I
what they
think
do it for. That's why they exist.
the only thing that's
And this
interesting now
doesn't
though
look good for
is
AW.
the only thing that is interesting though is when you look at from a this is just me looking at it from a Canadian, not Canadian, sorry, American aspect, but also is Canadian, but also happens over here as well. People are moving away from TV though. They're moving on to streaming platforms, and like again, we've seen some organizations already doing it. Like
Yeah,
the
but
NWA,
if,
for
if
example,
you
and
insist on bragging about a rating for so long, you then play defensive
yeah,
when the rating is clearly going down. I said it
hmm,
before, they want to have their cake and eat it. They want to be the
yeah,
best rated, highest rated, number one in the time slot, this, that, the other, and brag about it. Number one in the key demo for however many weeks we were hearing it.
mm-hmm,
When that suddenly isn't the case, they
yeah.
can't shy away from it
Oh,
because
true.
we know how important they find the ratings. We know how important the people at the top find the ratings.
Yeah,
When they plummet to the extent that they just have, I mean, the
yeah.
good news is, like, this week's show coming up can't get a worse rating because I think if it does, they might as well fold.
I don't think it will be as low as this. I think it will be marginally higher. Whatever they're looking for, I don't watch wrestling for ratings. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying that
get
because
that, but you
I'm not
might
trying to
not
avoid a
get to
ratings discussion.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you might not
absolutely.
get to watch the show that you want to in the way that you want to. You're an Impact
Yeah,
fan. You know what
yeah,
ratings did.
yeah.
You got fucked off to
92K 2 weeks
Twitch.
ago.
Yeah, you got fucked off to Twitch. You had to watch it, like you literally had to film it in a barn. That's where the joke comes from because it
Yeah,
literally happened. They were in a barn filming on Twitch because no network wanted them. And I
yeah.
think the resurrection of TNA is genuinely quite impressive, especially because we are about to move on to a different topic. But I mean, yeah, just your final words on that. Like, do you see AEW going down the same sort of tubes almost as um, Impact did. I mean, you'd know it based on your tenure as a long time Impact fan.
I'll be honest and I'll say no. And it's not because I'm putting one to the side of one organization that I've watched since day one. Like, well, I've watched both of them since day one theoretically, but what I mean is like the one thing that AEW always has compared to TNA, even through the Impact era when they renamed them, when they were rebranded, and then now back to TNA, is the financial muscle. I think the one thing that's different, I think this is marginally different. This actually has helped TNA for a long time. Is the absolute loyalty of the TNA fan base for years, like, has really stood still. Like, going through all that, like going from Spike TV because Dixie Carter was an absolute cunt and rehired Vince Russo when nobody wanted him in the organization to begin with. She brought him back, and then Spike found out and cancelled them for that. They dropped TNA from their Spike run because they brought Vince Russo back. And he was a stupid moron to confirm it on his podcast as well. He confirmed that that's why he got the boot. Go to Destination America, last 6 months, boom, off you go again. Like, there's elements to that that didn't help, like, that lost them, but they were obviously still broadcasting on the website. They're using it similar now with TNA Plus. The YouTube numbers are still high. Fans check in every week. I think the one difference though is the financial muscle. Anthem are playing it smart and safe with finance and budget, whereas AEW have got, ironically, an unlimited budget. They can just go for it. I think that financial muscle, to a degree, you have to put that to use, but you've also got to put use to how you're going to make it effective. I don't think they're dead and buried. I don't think they're dead in the water, or whatever like expression people want to use, or
Yeah,
what
no, I don't think
statement.
they're dead, but I think it is a like
But
serious blow right around the time that you're supposed to be getting more TV money.
yeah, but there is no. I think the one thing that wrestling has proved, and this is the weird thing about pro wrestling, is there are like the only company that technically failed to do it was probably WCW, but that was really stupid shit. Um, like really stupid shit behind the scenes. But there are organizations that have had really horrible times and they've been able to revamp themselves and turn things around. I think theoretically AEW could. It's not hard to do that. TNA did do it. WWE did do it to a degree behind the scenes because 2019 to 2021, they were horse shit. Like, they were
Oh,
genuinely
yeah, yeah,
horrible.
yeah, yeah. It was dark times, and that's
And
I suppose the
it's
problem for me is I
it's how
think it
they do it.
always
I don't
comes
know.
back to leadership. I think it always comes back to the leadership. You've got to look at who's actually carrying the ball. And if Tony Khan's your guy and he's the one carrying the ball,
Mm.
that's worrying because he doesn't seem to be changing anything. Definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Tony
It's
Khan has
annoying.
been doing the same thing for a long time.
It's annoying as well because at the end of the day, when I watch it, end of the day, like when I'm watching wrestling, I'm looking for key fundamentals. And the one thing that I do like across the board right now is, and this is every company, and I'm gonna say this in a nice way. I'm praising all the companies here for one thing. There's so many likable talent in wrestling right now across the board that I want to see more of it, and I want to see them used in the way that they actually are comfortable, but not comfortable there where they become lazy. What I mean is they become comfortable that they can go and be expressive, and when they are that expressive, they are really at it. Like, the prime example, funnily enough, is somebody we're going to be bringing up very soon. But long story short, just to give you a very quick example of who I'm talking about, he's on screen.
Yes, well, this is
The
the man
most
that we're moving on to talking about.
the most over wrestler in professional wrestling right now. Simply put, in my opinion, there's no one right now more over than Joe Hendry. Even though you're saying it because you're a TNA fan, I'm not. I'm being completely unbiased.
I mean, I was stunned because you get that sort of reaction on NXT, and once again, I get why you didn't do it because the way that I would have had Joe Hendry appear at Clash would have had Drew win.
Yeah, there were
I
so many
get
people
why they
chanting before
didn't
the
do
show
it
about
for
his name.
that, but imagine the reaction if he'd actually come out in Glasgow. And like, I suppose they didn't have to tie it to the main event. It could have been after the Cody thing. It could have been after the girls won, after the women had won the tag belts.
Yeah,
On Alba Fire could have been like an extra Scottish celebration. Place would have erupted
I
because
the only reason
NXT erupted and social media absolutely lost it as well.
I think the only reason
And
why he
good
wasn't there
on him.
was the time. I think the only reason why it didn't happen though is because the fact is he was already on a pay per view the day before. I don't think he would have got there in time. By the time he got there, he probably would have been wiped out. He probably would have been wiped out. That's probably why they didn't bring him. So I think there was. I'm not going to lie, and I'll say this because obviously I was at Clash. Actually, the SmackDown as well. Before the show even went live, and the show went like after the show's ended, apart from the mini outrage after Clash anyway, they were all chanting for Joe Hendry. I won't. I'm not. Apart from the fan outrage that occurred, generally going into the Hydro before the show started, after the show, and out the Hydro, they were still chanting for Joe Hendry all night. Didn't stop.
Well, yeah. So Joe Hendry shows up on NXT. I about said
Hmm.
AEW, but no, it wasn't. Um, and well, he got his big entrance pop, and I know you were unhappy about this
I was a little. I
because
was a
Joe
little bit
Hendry was eliminated right
very
away.
quickly. Yeah, that was the only bit that annoyed me. Like that it's not that it was there. I liked what he did after it. It's just I wanted a little bit more of him in the match because he's not just good in the mic; he's really good in the ring. I get it's a battle royal; it can happen anytime, and fair enough. I wanted at least maybe I don't know, but like close to 10 minutes. Like that would have been enough for me, not 85 seconds. That stung. But at least who eliminated him was actually someone relevant because he's currently in a feud with him. It's just the pain that it was straight away. Like that was a
Yeah,
disappointment.
yeah, but like as you say, like at least it was Kazarian that did it. Like
If it had
it
been someone
furthered
else, then if it had been
the
someone else, I
TNA
would have been annoyed.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
because
it
at least it furthered the feud that he was doing. It wasn't like, oh, hi, you're going to get eliminated immediately, and then you're going to go back to your own smaller company. Like this TNA partnership with NXT and with WWE as
mhm,
part of the TKO empire, as it were. Um,
yeah.
it's going quite well, I think, actually. They're doing pretty well to make me care about Impact. At least a bit more than I did.
At least
I'm
it's
not
still
saying
good
I'm a
that
massive fan of it, but they've got things now where I'm like, oh, we'll check that out.
Anthem at least still retains the control of TNA because I think you can't take that away. If you took that away, then you would lose an element of what they are. I think that's what would be a little
I
bit
think
missing.
you'd have too many things in TKO's grasp, and it would become
Too much, and it'd be
like,
hot.
well, it would become a need to push WWE over TNA because they make more money.
And that would be hurtful. Like that
Yeah,
would
there's
for
got
me
to
that
be
would be
a
hurtful.
barrier to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But in terms of what happened on NXT with Joe Hendry, so it was a battle royal. He
Hmm.
promptly left, and we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
left with so I forget. It was Javon something. I forget his surname. I'm sorry.
It's just
Um.
some Javon. Yeah, Javon. No,
Uh,
it's not Javon Evans. It's someone else the way.
oh no, I think it was Javon Evans. Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of NXT, so
So
I
Javon
can't
Evans
really know.
won the Battle Royal, and then later, because it was confirmed that it was going to be Evans versus Trick, and I remember seeing that and going, no, no, there's no heel there, there's nothing there, don't do that, and they didn't do that because what they did instead was they had Ethan Page and Sean Spears added.
Yeah, I was gonna say like for me personally, I don't know about you, but I thought at Battleground, I really liked the match between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. I would have had Ethan Page win the Battle Royal to get a rematch. Like I actually
Yeah,
liked it.
Javon Evans feels like he's been a bit pushed above his station, but I am glad that it's not just him because I'll be
Yeah,
completely honest here. I don't think Javon Evans is ready.
I agree.
I think he's fine, but I honestly think if you put him against like Nathan Fraser, it would be a pick 'em for who you would have. And at least
You get
Nathan
school.
Fraser's got a bit more of a legacy on the on the brand. But you know what I mean? In terms of their spotlight, I feel like they're about the same. And Nathan Fraser has the experience. He's also got a very funny tag partner, if they are still a team. I've not quite
No, they're
heard
still
that. But I
together.
don't think Axiom, yeah, I don't think
No, they're
Axiom
still
broke up with Fraser.
nah, they're still together because they won a Battleground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know they did something recently, but I'm used to AEW where there's a turn every week. So, no, he's got a very funny tag partner. Nathan Fraser's a very good wrestler. Javon
I don't
Evans
mind
is
them.
talented, but you know, this might be a bit above his station. And I know we felt that way about Trick. Um, but to be fair, I actually think that it's true about Trick Williams. I think he is a bit above his station at the moment. I think if you look at the NXT roster right now, does Trick Williams actually have to be the champion? Nah.
I think the perfect champion, funnily enough, for NXT is ironically the North American champion. I think Obafemi is the best they've got.
Yeah, and again, I can see why they're not rushing that, but then the not rushing becomes the double standard when someone that we've actually seen less often than Obafemi suddenly
I agree.
becomes like number one contender, and then of course dark horse in the Fatal Four Way. Sean Spears is an interesting one as well, of course, because he arrived. He had vignettes that I remember made me think it was going to be Okada.
Mm, yeah, I like Sean Spears, but even then, I'm starting to wonder what they are looking to do with him. Like I don't know. Like he hasn't been the same since maybe 2021. I think that says a lot. Like
Yeah, and
do think
there's
I do
Diogo
think he's
agreeing with us about Evans.
aye. Malo's got in there. He just loves calling himself Delicious Diogo because he likes Dallo, which is fine. I rate Evans a lot, but he's pushed way above his means at the moment. I don't mind it in a fatal four-way setting as he's extremely talented, but I do agree Evans is way above where he needs to be. I think the problem with NXT is there's so many talent that's exactly the same. So I feel like if I watch one match and I watch the follow-up, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's just different names. I mean, that's the one thing that doesn't help me
Yeah,
at the moment. Like that's I feel, and
yeah,
this is gonna sound very harsh, but if you're an NXT fan, I apologize. Like again, I like NXT, but I dip in and out sometimes. But it's just there's so much on. But when I'm watching NXT right now, whether it be a man or a woman in the ring, I'm literally watching the equivalent of just two Jack Yoshis. Like I'm just watching Jack Yoshi Man City. I'm just watching system wrestlers. I'm not seeing anything else. I'm just seeing the exact same thing. And that's not me to disparage them. I'm not saying they're not good enough. I'm just saying there's no additional development. Like right now, when I'm looking at it, I can only see like one person stands out immediately, and that's Obafemi. The rest of them are just the exact same. Apart from Trick Williams, I really do like Trick Williams, but the rest of them, it's just the same thing, and I think that really does not help. So I don't actually know what they're doing with them at all. Like that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm. That's just what I think. I don't know what you think.
No, no, I think it's fair enough.
I don't know if it's
There's a
legit. I
lot
don't know.
going on where they're like building. They're
Yeah,
building characters, and we're in that point where people are like finding their gimmicks. I just feel like a lot of them don't actually have a gimmick yet, or if they do, like I think it's the wrong people, like the wrong gimmicks that they're focusing on at times because things seem to be going somewhere and then they just don't. Obviously, Roxanne Perez turned heel, and that's fine.
she's a
But
good
if we're
heel.
supposed to be, yeah, if we're supposed to be taking Ariana Grace more seriously, why did Roxanne turn heel on a heel? Why
Is
has there
that
been
the
no follow up? Because
is that the chick who thinks
she,
she's a Miss World or something or Miss TNA or
she,
whatever it
yeah,
is?
she's like the beauty pageant one. Which I mean, to be fair, it is at least different for NXT. It's got a bit of a different flavor to it. She doesn't just come out and have a
Yeah,
match. There is character there. Okay, sometimes, so cringeworthy that your face becomes a fist, but it
yeah,
is a character. And again, like I feel like they do things to enhance character,
hmm
and then they don't necessarily take it anywhere that's like a meaningful payoff. So it might last for a feud, and then you'll
yeah.
forget about that character.
I think there's some talent
And yeah.
that's going to lose their steam. I really like Gigi Dolan. Like I thought she was excellent in
Hmm.
Toxic Attraction, but she's now had another injury, and when she comes back, she's going to be stuck with this Ariana Grace or whatever her name is. She's going to be stuck with her, and it'll take away everything that she's built, and then she'll lose it. And I really don't want to see that. It's the same for Cora Jade. Cora Jade, even though she's an absolute, at times she's a bit of a weirdo, but she's decent in the ring. She's good in the mic. Oh, she continuously gets injured. She is gonna lose so much more steam and momentum that eventually, and I wouldn't be surprised. And this is not harsh, but in wrestling, in any company, you have a shelf life. If she gets close to another injury, she will get released. They won't hesitate. They'll just say bye. Off you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did it with Tegan Knox in the past, and I mean,
Yeah,
look what
they'll
she's
they'll
doing
just
now.
send her off. Absolutely, they'll just send her off and they'll be like,
So
"See you
let's
later."
address it because Billy's asked twice. What could you see Shane O'Mac doing? Well, tell you what, we'll deal with this first. We'll deal with Mallow,
All
and
right,
then we'll
yeah,
talk about Shane
bring
O'Mac.
Miles coming back up. Yeah,
We'll have a bit of
yeah.
fun. But yeah, we'll finish. We'll round this off with Mallow's comment. Um, my comments are all stuck in the same place. Okay, there we go.
I've
Yeah,
got them
okay,
now.
it's on
Yeah,
screen. Cool. So
yeah, I've
I
got on
think the
screen.
men's division, lots of the talents haven't fully found the direction and characters yet, which may, yeah, basically. And they've shown in the past that they can do good gimmicks, like gimmicks that feel different. Once we got used to it, it was quite good having all those different gimmicks, having Chase
Yeah,
University and the Mob, and obviously you had Hayes and Trick who were their own thing.
yeah.
Braun Breaker, who was sound completely different. Ilya Dragunov. Again, it was
Just
offering
one
all these
thing.
different flavors. Once again, WWE's main roster went and poached the best, but I think they took too many. I almost feel like Dragunov didn't need to go yet,
The
especially
one
if they're
that
going to do what they're doing with Breaker. I
there's one that
worry
we
that
agree on.
Dragunov gets lost in the shuffle.
There's one that we absolutely agree on, and I don't think she's good enough at all. I actually don't think she's. I think she's in the wrong profession. So I apologize if you're a fan of hers, but Kiana James, I don't think she's that good at all. Like,
But she's the one
sorry.
that has the really good entrance theme.
She's the one that I don't know if it's an entrance theme. She just carries a bloody handbag. I don't think she's that good. I think she's better off somewhere else in a different profession. I'm sorry, that might sound harsh, but I don't think she's that good. And I think, yeah, she got called up. That's nice, but she isn't going to do anything. She's not going to amount to anything. But I agree with your comment about the main event talent and promoted up there. Like, I stand by it. I think Carmelo Hayes was the wrong one to go. I think Trick Williams should have went up there personally. That's just my opinion. I think Braun Breaker was right. I think Blair Davenport was right. Ilja Dragunov. The crazy thing is, though, he could have stayed there or he could have went to a different brand. But the thing about it, though, is they should have. It's not a sense of. It's not really a demotion in a way, but if you're promoting all these top talents from NXT or supposed top talents in that way, that's what you're aiming for. If you're going for that and then you're putting them on Raw or SmackDown, ideally you need to put 3 or 4 down to NXT. You're not demoting them, but you're saying they have to go there because you really need to get the lesser experienced talent working with veterans that actually know what they're doing so you can get ready for the main event in the next 2 years. Because that's what NXT
Yeah.
is literally for. And they didn't do that. They've lost a key opportunity. In my opinion, they've lost a very key opportunity.
Yeah, and don't worry about Wyatt 6 is next on the agenda, but right after we address,
Yeah,
I bloody
I
hate
agree
that
with that.
Jack. I bloody hate him.
I think he's fun. I
Anyway,
think he's fun. I think he's funny, but I can see why you don't like him. I just think he's funny.
I think he's a twat. He belongs in AEW. Clown. Anyway, speaking of clowns that belong in AEW, here comes Shane O'Mac. I mean, firstly, I don't think it's going to happen.
I think it's a joke.
But there are some fantastic dream matches in that. Think about
No,
it.
no.
I don't remember getting Shane McMahon versus Dean Ambrose. We can have Shane McMahon versus John Moxley.
I'd rather not. Thank you. I think
Shane O'Mac versus Kenny Omega. Best professional
no.
wrestler in the world versus best bout machine.
Don't do this to me. I personally think it's a joke, but if you're bringing in, if this is a legitimate thing and you're bringing Shane O'Mac into AEW, he shouldn't be going there to wrestle. He should be going there to bring in his experience of working behind the scenes to try and do more from a behind the scenes perspective. He shouldn't be going there to appear in matches because then you've already made yourself an even one. You're also in. This is one thing that you cannot do. And this, to be fair, I'd be the exact same if Tony Khan, for example, appeared on Raw television or SmackDown television while still owning AEW. It'd be the same if Shane McMahon went and appeared on Dynamite or Collision, because I'm not really bored about Rampage. You would actually be insulting the the hardcore fans of your organization. You know what I mean? Like, you don't like, whether you like the fans or not, you don't want to insult the fans by having them on there. Just like you wouldn't want Tony Khan to be on there because you're insulting the WWE fan base, because they don't want to see him there. Whereas AEW fans will not want to see Shane O'Mac. It would be
No, no, I completely get that.
it would genuinely be bloody stupid on an all round basis, in my opinion. If you're going there, just do it for the behind the scenes stuff. Don't appear on TV. It would be a ridiculous
And
point, in my opinion.
yet, do you not think there's perhaps something to be said? So, I mean, people say that AEW has too many managers. I mean, I say people. I shouldn't talk about myself in the third person. I say, but also a lot of others do, that
Shit.
AEW has too many managers. But if you were going to have a stable, let's
Yeah.
say they all get ripped down. You
Okay.
lose like 80% of them. If you really like Blackpool Combat Club, you can keep that together if you want. But that could actually
Okay,
tie into a storyline. Because what
go
if
on.
Shane McMahon had a stable of the guys that left WWE for AEW? And essentially, the storyline was because AEW is so inside baseball anyway, it could just
Uh
be,
huh.
look, we're tired of not being in the main event. So you essentially have a main event mafia of AEW, and it's the people that left WWE. At
This
least
sounds
some of them.
very. So you're already cross streaming two separate organizations here because what you've literally just described, funnily enough, besides the main event mafias, you've also just went and basically said, you know what, this is WCW. Let's just make the NWO.
Well, yeah, essentially. So if the NWO and then the main event mafia are the same thing, so okay, fine. Third time's the charm. You know, they worked, and this would work.
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon has tag team history with Brian Danielson. Okay, Brian Danielson's about to retire, so you know maybe he could manage it too.
Yeah.
If he's not going to be in ring, maybe the two of them could manage it, and then you know you've got
Potentially.
all the guys that basically because it can be heel to the WWE fans and the AEW fans. You just have to
That would
lean
be
in.
interesting.
You know, you can't have Edge because I mean he's going to retire. You can't really have Christian, although he might have a few years left. So you know,
He's already got the
maybe.
he's already got the patriarchy and he is making that work, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's fucking jobbers that the outsiders don't want to watch. And I don't mean the outsiders, I mean people like me who've got better things to do than watch Nick fucking Wayne and
You
Nick
might not be
fucking
watching
Wayne's mum.
you might not be watching for Nick Wayne, but every time Christian gets on the mic, you really do listen. Like there is
I
just
can
something.
shut the fuck up. I get it. He talks about dead relatives. Like, you know, move on.
It's not just that. But when he does deep dive, he is good. I'd be interested. There is actually one other thing I'd be interested to see. Like again, I'm not for it, but if it actually did happen, but I would be interested to see how he tied into, say, a link in with Swerve Strickland. That's another one
Right.
that may interest me.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Swerve Strickland, ex WWE, and we pretty much all felt at the time that he left because he wasn't getting the spotlight.
Because mind you,
You know, I was,
if you're being stuck with B flat, then I would definitely want out personally.
yeah, Flop Dollar as well, of course. We all know
Oh,
about him.
I flop dollar
But
bills and Ashanti the fatty.
oh, that's not very nice. He's a thin, small guy, and I believe he's still there.
I know, I just couldn't help it. I just couldn't
I
help it.
think is he the only one? I think he is.
Uh, just him.
Or, or no,
No,
BFAP's still.
aye, B flat's still there. She's still with the waste of the pride. That doesn't work either. That faction doesn't work.
No, no, absolutely not. But you see what I mean?
Except,
Like, if you're gonna have Shane O'Mac play into the strengths and have him as a heel
yeah.
and have him manage a faction that
Hmm.
is all about being from the other place and being better than AEW, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with having a faction that thinks it's better. You know, that can actually draw some serious attention because you might actually get WWE fans to start watching, rooting for the guys that are going to kill AEW.
Hmm. Because that's essentially
Some
what the N.
storyline, yeah.
It's essentially what the NWO was. The NWO initially was there to take over WCW, but it was literally to kill the establishment that was WCW and make it fully just the NWO. Obviously, it failed, but that was supposed to happen. Like the failure, they didn't fully take over, but they did get the takeover initially. It might interest me if it happened. I don't think it will anyway. I think it's just a I think it's just a joke or a meme that's going around saying that Shane O'Mac will go to AEW. I don't think he will.
And then you build to the big match because if they want to draw millions, Shane McMahon versus Tony Khan.
I think I would probably put that down as equally the worst match besides Jimmy and Uso and Sharmell at Victory Road in 2009. I would
They
put that
could
up
they
there.
could call it, but they could call it the Battle of the Billionaires Kids.
Or the battle. Actually, no, I can't say what I was about to say. I would get in trouble. I had
But I
something.
mean,
I had something in mind, but I can't say it. Nah, it's alright. Scrap it. We don't need
yeah, no,
another
just
invasion. Let's not even go to the invasion angle yet, because that's part of the What If series. Don't jump ahead. Speaking of that,
yeah.
that is
Well, I
coming
mean, we're
soon.
talking, but I mean, if you're talking about the invasion, why not? You know, AW parodies everything else from the past. They just brought fucking Gangrel back. It's not
Gangrel
like
was fun
they're,
for me.
but it's not like they're. Oh no, we are above wasting our time repeating things from the past. We just don't do it. Fuck off.
Gangrel was
No, we
Gangrel
do.
was fun. Gangrel was fun for me. I like Gangrel. He still had the arguably one of the coolest entrances ever. But then again, Gangrel also got ruined in a short promo on Raw in 2005, so I don't want to go there either. It really does come down to what you want and what you like. I don't think it would work in the end, but if it did, then it would. You'd have to watch to see what happens. But oh dear, I think it would have social media in a constant flurry of conversation. Put it that way, and I don't know
Yeah,
who would
but
be more
they love that.
infuriated.
They love that.
I don't know who would
But
be
you
more
feed into
infuriated. That's the part.
everything Tony Khan wants. You feed into
That's the thing.
literally everything that he's ever wanted.
To be fair, you could ask him what he wants, and he probably wouldn't give you a straight answer.
Yeah, well, he wants everyone to talk about his product and how great it is. And I'm telling you, if he had Shane McMahon, 100%.
I don't think I could
Shane
cope.
McMahon knows how to work as well. So, you know, if he had to like sell an injury for something. I mean, I'll tell you
It,
one other thing that they could do if they really want Shane McMahon. I'll just say it quickly.
an
Why
empty the
don't
gas tank
they
match.
bring Shane McMahon in with Brock Lesnar? See, now you're intrigued. What if it wasn't a faction? What if it was just Shane McMahon managing Brock Lesnar? The heat that would get. Oh, those fans would be
I'm
like
starting to get worried.
bringing
I'm starting to get worried about you.
glass into the arena.
I'm starting to get worried about you because that's one name I never expected to come out of your mouth. I did not expect you
What
to say
if Shane
Brock Lesnar.
McMahon brings in Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, I did not expect that. I don't know if that was just
Oh,
you
that'd
being
be
serious or
great.
you trolling.
No, it'd be
Yeah,
great. I think
yeah,
it'd be great.
yep. She mentioned Brock Lesnar. I think at 58 minutes, 50 seconds into the show, we're all fucking scared. We're all fucking scared. Ailey suggested Shane McMahon with Brock fucking Lesnar. If you had Brock Lesnar on your
It's
bingo
fine.
card, then get it
You know
mentioned. Get your bingo
something?
card in.
Book it, TK. Book it. Book
I don't
it.
think I.
Have him show up, and I'll buy a T-shirt. I'll buy a Brock Lesnar is All Elite T-shirt, and I'll wear it on the show. Do it, Tony.
I
Do
think
it.
we're all fucking. I think we all secretly know that Ailey's now a
Bring him
Brock
in.
Lesnar fan.
Bring him in. Brock Lesnar's fantastic. What are you talking about? Never said an ill word about that man. I'll be
All,
honest. At
all.
least if he went, oh, my whole motive is if he goes to AEW, he's away from WWE. If he
It's
goes
all
for
right.
Shane McMahon, they could draw money from it.
The entertaining thing is though, is you'll probably get CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar on another SummerSlam, maybe next year.
Yay! Very excited for that one. No. Anyway, speaking of you mentioned a word there. You said scared. You were scared. It's time to talk about the scary thing that happened, which is Jacob Fatu showed up. No, no. It is, of course, the Wyatt Six, either
Yeah,
six or six the number. Do you get it? It works for both. This was
yeah.
a thing that
N-
happened.
I messaged you about this, and you kind of agreed with me, which I was a little bit shocked by. But the one thing that I said to you was, I think the presentation looked good, but they really did overdo it. But I think necessarily you had to do it, but then it got ruined by Adam fucking Pierce, that bald fraud. Because what are we going to get?
Now,
Zombie Gable?
we don't know what the result of that is going to be.
I'd love to know what it is.
Now,
It's just freaked the fuck
I
out
hope
by
to
it.
fuck it's not zombies. Like, I hope to fuck it's not zombies.
I
But
don't know what it was, but weird as fuck.
my concern when I was watching it, obviously, you see a couple of people and you're like, oh, okay. The problem for me is
I'm just
they
going to leave this up
haven't
for the rest of the night.
started. They didn't start small, and that's fine. You know, you need to attack a big name or two. I'm
Yeah,
worried about the big names that were either attacked or supposedly attacked. Chief among them's Gunther. I don't think Gunther
it's
should be
weird.
touching this.
He
I
should.
really don't think Gunther should be anywhere near this.
I just found it absolutely hilarious that the one person who didn't get involved is the one that trolled immediately following the show, and that's Drew McIntyre. And that was
Yeah,
absolutely funny. That was hilarious as fuck.
I suppose so. There's a lot to get into with this. I mean, as you say,
I
the
gen-
presentation was stunning. It was
I
terrifying.
genuinely didn't think it was. I'll be honest. I genuinely didn't think it was. When I looked at it, I was like, surely not. But
I
since it
wish
is, I
it
was like,
wasn't.
nah. But the minute I seen it back, I was like,
I
yeah,
mean,
fuck this.
unless this is the way that they have Gunther win the belt and then that's his feud. But again, I don't think I want that for Gunther. And I
That'd be
think,
crap.
okay, the problem I have with Wyatt Six, or the problem I have with the Wyatt Six, is the same issue that I had with Uncle Howdy, and it's the same issue. And I get it, you've got to try something different, different things, trends.
Yes.
It doesn't work for me. I want to see like wrestlers doing wrestling in a
Yeah.
way, so not in the AEW way where it's overly jokey, but if you go too far the other way and make it like serious GBH every week, I don't want to watch that either. You know, there's a fine line
Yeah,
and
I
they've
get what you
got
mean.
it, and a lot of the performers are within those benchmarks, and it's great to see. And the
Yeah.
bit of blood and the bit of pageantry, bit showcasing things like that, showboating, it's fine, it's great. That's, otherwise you're just
Yeah.
watching the UFC. We all know the UFC's a pile of shit. So as it goes, I'm just worried that this goes too far the other way. We can't kill a wrestler every week because they run out of them. That's why I think it's
Especially,
interesting that they've announced that Gable is back, because what is the
yeah.
effect and how can it work? And I think the
That's
only way
what
this
you.
has a real effect is if it's psychological. Because if it's a physical effect, Chad Gable appeared to be dead. Rach is pointing that out. He appeared dead. So
And it looked like a
I'm
gunshot in the
concerned.
temple. It looked like a gunshot in the
Yeah.
temple. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but a gunshot to the temple, you are fucked. There's no coming back from that.
No,
So
it's
it's
3 weeks
weird.
heavy concussion protocol. Everyone knows that.
But the weird thing
Shot in
is,
the
and this is
head,
the part
3
that,
weeks heavy concussion.
yeah, but this is the part that freaks me out, and I think this is what I'd love to get people's opinions on, including yourself. If you look like that and you look dead, the one thing you do not do you do not do this is you immediately go onto social media as the general manager and say, oh, by the way, he's now cleared to compete. No! You've just ruined the Wyatts already.
Well, I think the reason that he did that was so that we knew that Gable wasn't away for a long time, and it's to make us watch Gable this Monday. Because Gable on tomorrow night's Raw is going to be a major talking point because we're going to be wondering what the hell happened.
Like, I would have gave
The
it, like,
right
me personally, I would
sort
have gave it
of
another
thing
week.
has to have happened.
Like, I would have
Because,
gave it
and
another week,
here's
yeah.
the issue. Yeah, here's the issue with the stable for me. If you attack too many people,
Gable,
it becomes overbearing.
yes.
And we're not going to have that line because who does and doesn't get attacked by the White Six? There doesn't seem to be much of a rhyme or reason. I saw a theory that
Yep.
it's people who have betrayed other people, but does that then make the White Six good? Like,
Well,
are
this is
they
kind of ironic.
face? They don't
Well, this is
look
kind of,
face.
I think they're all heels. And it turns out that this comment here by Billy, which is kind of ironic to what you've just brought up. But to be fair, when you look at it, one of the names in particular about treachery, Chad Gable literally has done that. Like I did see one thing that was interesting about he used to say thank you. You know what I mean? Like he used to do that. I thank you. He doesn't do that anymore. He's all about putting people down. So he's
So how
completely
long
changed
was
his
Chad Gable's fucking heel turn then?
about as long as his Intercontinental title reign.
2 months.
It was a lot. It was ages. He was heel for ages, but fuck knows.
No, his
It,
actual heel from when he attacked Sami Zayn. It's been two
uh,
months.
yeah, and now he's
Right.
immediately the top gun of their hit list for not saying thank you anymore. Mental, but also you've got the like Gunther technically didn't betray anyone. He didn't really betray Giovanni Da Vinci. It was Ludwig Kaiser. Gunther just didn't give a shit. Like Gunther's like, well, I'm
Yeah.
not bothered. I'm not bothered about this crap. It would make more logical sense for
Gunther
what.
just went, strongest guy wins. There you go.
Yeah, it would have made more sense, ironically, where you had the Wyatt segment, which was great. But if you're going to attack people, why would you not attack Seth Rollins? Like he's somebody I would have expected to see knocked the fuck out with blood because he is the king of betrayal.
So yeah, so the whole theory. Well, I mean, the other thing about betrayal is okay. So do the White Six know about the bloodline?
Surely, yeah.
Got
They
news
were
for you.
supposed
The
to.
bloodline's been quite heavy on that whole betrayal thing. It's kind of
Specialists
the
in it.
whole thing.
Yeah, everyone fighting for that one moment whilst bringing in new people just to establish your faction, which is still insane. There's still only I'm more intrigued by just one member of this faction, and he appeared last night finally until Zilla appears, but it's just Jacob Fatu for me. But he's fine. He's in the clear because he's not betrayed anybody.
Mm. Do
But
you
it's
still
I don't
care?
about the bloodline. Like
Well, I
about the
mean, you'd
bloodline.
lost your
Nah,
care, but yeah.
no. I only care about Jacob Fatu because I really do like Jacob Fatu. Like I thought, the only thing that didn't help him, and this is a shame, and it's not to be fair, it's not Randy Orton's fault, but that spear through the barricade was a botch. It's unfortunate that happened, but even so, apart from that, it was still good to witness. Like it was because I really do like his presentation. I loved his work in MLW. The guy can move. Like it's got the amount of people that responded to Jacob Fatu's debut that's actually pro wrestlers. Josh Alexander, Karrion Cross, Eric Young. They've literally all said, like guys who haven't seen him before, yous are gonna shit yourselves because of how good this guy is. And I think the guy's incredible. They've got somebody that you can literally put in a main event program with, and you've got nothing to worry about. The rest of them, I don't care. Like Solo Sokoa can fuck off. Like, he bores me to death.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The more people that you bring in, it's like, oh, Solo, you're kind of rubbish, you know.
He's
Like, why
he's
are
just
you leaving
really.
this? You're kind of shit compared.
That's true, Catherine. That is a
That is
legitimate
very true.
fact.
Yeah,
That is a legitimate
that is,
fact.
yeah.
It's the quickest
But it's
way. It's
okay because
quickest way.
he's clear to wrestle.
He's not Perk Gable anymore.
Yeah.
He's stronger than Death Zombie Gable. Maybe we should. Oh, that's what we need. That's what he needs to do. When Chad Gable appears tomorrow, if he is stronger than Death, he needs to come out like Solomon Grundy. He
Right.
needs to have he needs to have the Solomon Grundy song. He needs it. Except replace Grundy with Gable.
I just think like Chad Gable should have left.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's signed a new deal because at this point it's like, right, well, you just had your best chance at winning a fucking title in this company, and turning
They've
heel and
basically
being
said
serious and going on your Kurt Angle vibe, and you
it's
didn't
over.
get to do it because Otis exists.
The worst thing as well is you've got. I'd love to get your
Fucking
opinion
hell.
on this. I'd love to get your opinion on this because this really annoys me, right? But there's genuinely some. It's purely just hardcore WWE accounts that are trying to justify it, saying, "Oh, it's okay that he lost at Clash at the Clash at the Castle, because once he replaces Otis and the other two dungaree dungbells, he's going to bring in the Creed brothers, and then he's going to win the title. He should have had the Creed fucking months ago. Like, it doesn't
He
matter
should have
anymore.
done that. He should.
Like,
Step
it's over.
one was to suplex Sammy.
Exactly.
Step two was to warn Alpha Academy that hey, if you don't step up,
You're
I'm going to
gone.
get rid of you. And then step three was have all of Alpha Academy step up. You could have built part of Raw around it. You could have had Otis could have beat someone that you didn't expect. Tazawa could have got a win, and Maxine could have, if she wasn't injured at the
A shock
time,
win on
she
someone.
could have got a win. Imagine all three members of Alpha Academy had won, and then your main event segment, or top of the hour segment, Gable comes out. He's like, "I'm going to congratulate you all," and it's the Creeds and Ivy Nile laying them out.
There you go. Bang. But they
You'd
want to
have a
justify it by
heel
saying no.
with a heel faction, and instead they're like, "Nah, let's not push Gable because we like the fat guy.
And
We
I
like
don't
the
care
shit
what.
Bronson Reed. That's what we like."
Otis is genuinely shit, and it's the fact that we're like the amount of people that were cheering for him walking out at Clash, and I'm like, you're a bunch of fucking dorks. Like, seriously, I had to watch a really good match to see this pish. Like, Maxine Dupree sucks. Tazawa
Yep.
Tazawa stinks, and Otis is fucking wank. I'm sorry, but they
Yeah.
are. They're all
Yeah.
shit.
No. They are. They are.
Like,
They
they are a
truly
waste.
are.
They are a waste of my time. Whether it's watching it live, watching it back, or seeing it live in a pay-per-view, they are fucking awful. And the fact that people are now justifying it by saying, no, you need to delay it so we get Chad versus Otis, so then you'll bring in the Creeds. No, get fuck off. Just fuck off, you absolute cockwombles.
Yeah. Don't want to see any of that. Really
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to see it.
see any of that at all.
It's
But
a
we might have to, and we'll have to wait for tomorrow night's Raw to find out
oh,
what's happened with Zombie Gable.
I don't know if I can take it.
I,
I don't know if I can take it. It would genuinely fucking torment me that they're delaying us, because the worst thing about all this is Chad Gable's going to go back to being a jobber. That's the sad reality. Like, I'm everyone that's watching right now, Chad Gable's going to go back to being a jobber. Braun Breaker's going to get the Intercontinental title, which we already called, by the way. Sami Zayn, you're going to
yeah,
lose your title to Braun Breaker, so I can live with that at
yes,
least, because we still called that. But
and it's a good champion. It's a good choice.
yeah,
If you're gonna
but
if you're gonna fire Braun Breaker over to the point of so Braun Breaker slams. I've just realised Braun Breaker slams Ricochet through a car windshield, and throws him
Yep.
against the truck, and
Yep.
Ricochet's essentially dead on
Yep.
WWE television. Chad
Yep.
Gable eats a fucking
Bullet.
it's a fucking shotgun to the temple. Well, I'll take a few days rest, boys, and
You know
I'll
what's
be
even
back. Don't worry.
you know
Fuck's
what's even
sake.
you know what's even funnier? It's before the show
Yeah.
started. They showed the ambulance, right? And I seen a tweet by someone, and it was somebody saying, "Ricochet isn't going to the nearby medical facility. He's getting written off TV." I pissed
Yeah.
myself laughing. I couldn't help it. I was
Well,
like, "There
yeah.
goes
Well, I mean,
Ricochet."
we're at the point where the only time you actually do sell an injury is when it's legitimate or when your contract's expired.
Yeah, it's insane. But
Yeah, it's mad.
I feel sorry for Chad Gable. You've just said the perfect statement. He's like, and it's the same for people over anywhere else. Like whether you want it to be in a company you like or a company you don't like, you want to see talent try new things. Chad Gable, you know what? For all that, you're making money. Cool, no problem. But you've just wasted yourself, mate. That's not me saying I want you in or out of WWE. I'm not saying that. As a talent, I genuinely like you. You've just you've just ruined yourself. It's like Shinsuke
He's just
Nakamura.
wasted his biggest shot. Yeah, he's just
It's like
wasted his biggest shot. He's
yeah,
just
yeah.
absolutely thrown it away.
It says a lot as well. And I brought up Nakamura for 1 second there because he's another one where we thought Seth Rollins was genuinely back ruined. Not me back ruined because I'm worse than him, but he was back ruined. He should have lost that last man standing. He didn't do it. So what does he do? He gets a new contract. Mate, you should have just went back to fucking Japan. Like you've lost it already. Like he's another one. And now it says even more that AJ Styles is getting the match that Nakamura should have had next month against Marufuji. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be a good match. But they've just handed it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
and I get it, like if
that's the reality.
professionally a WWE contract suits you, then great. But I mean, so
But
what? You've
it's
had,
mental.
I mean, this year with all the injuries that have actually happened,
So many.
the person's either
Oh,
been back in a week or 2 weeks, or they've managed
yeah.
to write them off TV. But then, and once again, this comes back to that thing we said before about how, being fans, we kind of ruin it for ourselves
Massively.
because we know that the reason these people aren't here. Whereas there'll be people that don't know that Ricochet's contract's done and he's going elsewhere. There'll be people that just think, well, Braun
When's he
Breaker
back?
took him out. It could be months. It could be months. But
He's
whenever
not.
we watch one of these injuries, we're just like, oh, well, we know that he's still in contract. So I guess they're
Hmm.
building a feud. And that doesn't mean that this isn't good content. And I'm loving what CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are doing. But we know that they're
Mm.
just trying to draw out a feud because Punk isn't cleared yet.
Yeah.
And it's fine because who wants to see it at Money in the Bank? No. No,
Not
you
a
can do
chance.
match one of this at SummerSlam, easy. I don't want to
Yeah.
see that, but we
Match one
know
at
that Punk
SummerSlam.
isn't like we know that Punk will be back and it'll be like okay, well he had to get attacked there because we have to write him off a bit longer.
Yeah. And I like the way
But
they did it.
anyways, so yeah.
This something
Oh yeah,
I'd
yeah,
like to
yeah.
ask you because there's two things I want to bring up. The first one obviously about the McIntyre and Punk fight.
Yeah. I'll be as
First match,
quick as I possibly can with it.
yeah. First match, we are going to go an hour and a half, so we've got 11 minutes left. So I know. So basically,
Yeah, well I've got to jump off at half 6, but you can
yeah, yeah. So what I was going to say is
mingle.
Punk versus McIntyre at SummerSlam. Then whatever match you have, I would have match two at Survivor Series, and then I'd wrap it up after that, and maybe the Rumble, unless Punk wins it.
Well, if you can fold it into War Games, it makes sense. But at the same time, Punk isn't going to work a War Games match, so
Oh,
forget I
he
said
would
that.
break. He would break.
Yeah, well, he's not going to do it. I mean, they said it was funny when he put that shitty question. He gave that
Oh,
everything.
the
It was
Hell in a
worth it,
Cell
that
one.
press
Yeah,
conference. Your first match is a hell of a set. It's like, with all due respect, that's why I'm glad you don't book this fucking shit.
Yeah, like there's just oh, I've signed a contract. What's your first match? Oh yeah, Hell in a Cell. Fuck off.
Did he not say in the answer, it's like, get that indie bullshit out of here?
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Sec.
yeah, I mean,
The
I
other thing.
am excited for it, and yeah,
Yeah.
I think you could easily have the blow off here at WrestleMania. So like take your time. You're doing great, guys. And then yeah, the other.
I think as well. This could potentially still be a non-title feud. That's what I think about. I don't know if this actually needs to include a title. That's what makes it interesting. The other thing as well that I was going to say is, again, I don't want to say the fact that he is Estrada vibes, but Seth Rollins returned. Nobody
Oh
saw that
yeah,
coming.
I forgot that
Nobody
was a
saw.
return. Yeah, no.
So nobody saw that coming, but it returned as well. The song.
Look, they may have done too much on one episode. It was a huge episode. I don't
Hmm.
think it needed Rollins. I understand why you get him back in if he's fit and he's in the
Yeah,
sort of position, but with the Wyatt Six and everything that was going on elsewhere, and Drew McIntyre walking out,
that was really interesting. That as
maybe
well.
he just didn't need to be here. But anyway, we will see what happens with that next
Yeah.
time. One thing's for sure, it's going to be better than MJF versus a nameless luchador. That's all from me. Reece, you could
Hmm.
stay and answer the comments, mingle with the fine folks, but I've got to get going. My
Yep.
schedule is as crazy as usual. But as I say, close to the holidays. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us this evening. I hope you've all enjoyed the sunshine over the weekend. Long may it continue. And yeah, let's
Absolutely.
all look out for Zombie Gable tomorrow night. Board up the windows. See ya.
See you later. Good show. Well, of course, that was Ailey for an hour 22:20. So, guys, we're probably going to go. We are going to go until this is an hour 30. So, like, another 7.5 minutes. So, if you've got any comments or any questions, get them in. Try and answer as much as I can. Let me know what you want to talk about. If you want to ask me anything, fire in. I'll see what I can provide. This comment in particular, I do agree with. WWE equals don't sign on the dotted line unless you're given some sort of assurance about where you're going. Absolutely, because Chad Gable, before the whole situation, hadn't signed anything. He signs it from, and then, well, yeah, there's elements to it. There's a grade A level of disappointment somewhere. There's some isn't, but there's opportunities here. Can they make the most of it? We'll find out. I don't know, but I'm eager to find out. So, guys, I'm not going to say that, but is there anything particular that you would like to discuss? Check, check, check. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Yep, that's fine. Whilst I've got the Scottish bloody sun shooting down on my face. Christ almighty. I wish it was fucking raining. What is the temperature outside? I am being scorched. $20. I'm being fucking scorched in 20 degrees, you bastards. When's it raining? It's not raining until 11 o'clock. Oh, great. Another 4.5 hours. Eh. Speaking of which, 8 o'clock, double watch along for the final group stage matches of Euro 2024 Group A. We're doing a double watch along on the World of Football podcast. So keep an eye out for that if you're into that. Join me and the lads, except Julio, because he probably won't join because he's in Camden. Don't know what the fuck there is to do there. Somebody else can enlighten me. I haven't got a clue. Probably sheep farming. I don't know. But Is there anything particular you guys would like to talk about? Anything that you might be interested in? Is there anything that you would like me to do for the channel coming up? Let me know. Get your comments in. We've got another 5 minutes whilst I burn today. So I'll just wait for any comments to come in. If there's no comments in the next couple of minutes, I'll just wrap us up early. Actually, here's a funny one. This is for everybody. Here's a funny question. So Goldberg recently has come out saying that he deserves at least one retirement match. Who would you give his opponent? For me, I would give him the most important opponent of them all. Bret Hart. I'm only kidding. I would deny Goldberg the opportunity to have a last match, especially after he almost killed The Undertaker. I would not even grant him the chance to have a retirement match. I wouldn't. I will give him Ryback. Both retires. Give him Ryback. Can we give him Ryback in a 60-foot? Oh, I don't know. I'd probably get done for sadinism or for wanting two people to get seriously hurt. Hmm. There is one that I can actually get in trouble with. I'm actually going to try it. I want to check one little thing. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would have Ryback versus Goldberg in a scaffold match. Too harsh? I'd have Jim Cornette sitting there watching at ringside for the trauma. Yeah, both can fall off, exactly. And break their legs like what Jim Cornette did. He completely fucked up his legs and his knees. He was probably thinking about Vince Russo before Vince Russo was commonly known. To be fair, she hates MJF for most of the promo content that he makes. Doesn't think it seems more disingenuous, I believe Ailey would describe it as. To be fair, I think that's fair. I think there are talent that people are going to hate for certain reasons. That is one of them, and I'm not going to stop anyone from that level of aspect because We're all like that. I mean, I hate Ash by Elegance because she's a fucking fraud of a wrestler, and and she's an absolute clown, and she's got a fan base that are completely delusional. That have now swept into the TNA fan base that makes me sick. So yeah, like there's certainly that for me. Just like into a degree as well, I hate how disingenuous at times Cody Rhodes is with some of his promos. They cannot stop and change something else. Like, do a different fucking promo, mate. Please, I beg you. But that'll never happen. So shit happens. Got time for one more question, and then after that, I'm going to get out here because I've got another watch along, well, another stream at 8 o'clock. So I need to get some dinner. Tozawa should become IC champion. Don't punish me like that. That's horrible. Don't do that to me. I don't want to see the Alpha Goons get the IC title. That's painful, Catherine. Damn, that's painful. Thought we were friends. Ugh. Right. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Am I doing anything for Raw tomorrow? Maybe. But we might be doing another stream tomorrow. A gaming stream because it's been a little while since I've done one of those. The What If series starts in 2 weeks. Just saying, What If series starts in 2 weeks. So keep your calendars open for that. But in the meantime, to all those that have watched, thank you very much. Your comments have been absolutely incredible. It's been an absolute pleasure. We will see you next time, of course. We've got to run with it. Catherine says Goldberg versus Roman if I had to give him a match. Ouch. Ow. My eyes would probably disintegrate if I had to watch that again. But in the meantime, to everyone that has watched, please do hit that like button. Please do share the stream. Get out there, get as much attention as you can. Because it's always a good conversation on the steel chair. And please do hit that subscribe button as well. It would be most appreciated. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure. I'll speak to you all soon from sunny Scotland. Maybe it's sunny because Scotland might be hungry. I know for sure. I certainly am hungry. Bye for now.